Is they going to speak here? Please, go ahead. Thank you. State your name, please. You can come right up here and right there.
Elizabeth Hart.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Councillors. I also was in with the staff report, and aside from the already mentioned letters regarding our input in the town, I would also ask that the council would consider or just make note of the following things. The 817, actually the Catholic Church purchased 20 acres of land just on the 817 by the rodeo grounds. And just west on the other side, there's 3 acres that's owned by the Anglican Church. There is a caveat that's on some of that land, I know for sure on the west side, for multiple highway use as well. And also just wanted to make note that the United Church is also located on the 817, right by a major intersection, pretty close to the number 1 highway. So you could probably make some good traffic assessments because they definitely are bigger than we are as far as the congregation size, as well as the Alliance Church, which is also located on the 817. And of course, as you already mentioned, the Jehovah's Witness Church on Thomas Drive. I certainly acknowledge the concerns in the staff report. I also did note that in the report, Alberta Transportation did submit comments and noted that the existing highway network should not be impacted since access to the site was via Canal Garden and Canal Boulevard. And no access will be permitted directly off of the Highway 817. So it appeared for me when I read that they didn't consider that it would be a concern at this time. For us, we are not looking to put millions of dollars into a building, a fancy building, because we're very passionate about the community. A residential area would not allow us to put up a metal building that we are looking at, not very likely because that's not what they want sitting in a residential area. But a public zoned land in a commercial area would allow us to put up a practical building to code with the community standards of that area. Also, there wouldn't be a noise factor with our youth or our music nights that might be disturbing in a residential area as well. And I'd also just like you to please consider the following facts. The pastors in this town and the surrounding area meet every month, and we pray for this town and the surrounding area, and we believe in this community. We work together to try and meet the needs of the community. We all have vision for this town. The churches, I believe, are a vital part of input into the town. Together we minister to many different sectors of the community, and although we each carry different strengths, we come together in a team effort to try and do what we can do for the sake of the community. We're trying to help with getting youth off the street. We certainly, the church has had a part in the Boys and Girls Club and also individual youth programs, and I know that that's a big need in the town. We do help families in need as a team effort. We give away food, clothing, furniture. We come together, we do weddings, we do funerals, we strengthen families. We do services in the extended care and now in the 2 senior homes, and are concerned for our seniors. Several of the pastors sit on different community boards, etc. And want to see the same as you guys want to see for the well-being and the development of the town. We minister obviously to the needs of the people. We personally as a church have put roofs on houses, hot water tanks in places, done maintenance and carpentry work for those families who could otherwise not afford it. We work for sure with recovering addicts to rehabilitate them back into society, and we teach them practical skills and get them working to contribute back into the town, which many of them are doing at this point, actually. We are definitely for the safety and the growth of this town, and we believe in that. So I just want to thank you for even taking the time to consider our proposal.
You mentioned music. That is your music that bad, or? I'm sure it's not. Anyway, would you consider, if council's over, and we're going to close this public hearing once all discussion's over, and then we're going to have another motion to accept or move forward with it. Okay. Would you consider, would the thought be, if council was really concerned about the situations that were brought up by administration, would you consider moving back farther with a bigger piece of land and get it cheaper, or farther into the industrial area?
Possibly. I again would have to consult my members and stuff. But yeah, depending on price and location and stuff, for sure it is a possibility. We would have to look at that for sure.
We're not trying to turn you down. I just we're trying to look at all angles.
Yeah, we would be willing to look at it. We would have to.
Yeah. Thank you. Any questions from council? Comments? No? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no other person, that was your presentation, so we'll allow that for you speaking on behalf of everybody. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is John Gilvani. I'm the representative of the corporation that owns the property. I just want to answer comments from Councilor Best in regards to concern with heavy traffic for council's consideration. We got to keep in mind that even if the church was to either be granted the ability to build at a specific location or even within, there was concern about highway heavy traffic and so on and so forth. If it is a concern now, we're going to have a bigger problem down the road, because we've got to keep in mind that the main zoning of this particular complex is highway commercial, which basically intended for retail, commercial, and so on and so forth. So we're going to have a lot of single vehicles, SUVs, and so on and so forth going through those roads. So if heavy traffic right now is a concern for this application, I think that we need to reconsider this at this point, because we're going to face that challenge down the road if it is a concern for this council right now. And obviously that's not the intent of the existing zoning for the 25 acres on the other side of the road and so on and so forth. Keeping in mind too that some of the heavier, the light industrial, this is zoned light industrial right now, and most of the area around it is also light industrial or commercial highway. The M2 zoning and M3 zoning is actually deeper into the subdivision, which I don't think would have an impact on their existing locations, or even if it was in the second cul-de-sac, if that was becoming an option. I just want to say that about traffic.
It wasn't so much that I was worried about the heavy traffic. What I was worried about was sending all the cars to this church in farther into that industrial area, not the commercial area, but the industrial area, where the bigger trucks and that are going to be. I'm not concerned with
that's what I tried to relay, is if we're concerned about bigger trucks and so on and so forth, going through that, through that particular access point and so on and so forth, we're going to be concerned because we have commercial highway on the other side.
What I'm concerned with only is sending all these cars into those trucks, and I don't think it's necessary when we can do this.
But in regards to that, though, the churches operate in evenings and weekends, which is
which is not the
right. Very big difference there.
And I think, and just the last point, we need to consider, what actually is in place right now as far as for businesses, and in that particular cul-de-sac, the Translator's office is in there, some smaller retail businesses also in that across the street from it. So it's not like we've seen the heavy trucks or anything like that, and I don't think any of these properties right now, there's jump house gymnastics and so on and so forth, there's a little plumbing shop and things like that. So I don't think having them in that cul-de-sac, from my point of view, even though I might have a certain interest in this, should be of concern. And if this particular site doesn't work out, I do think that the council should be receptive to another location inside the property.
So that was my point, is that you do have another parcel, you could.
Yeah, there's other parcel that
Okay.
could probably more accommodating if council feels that this one is not the right one for them.
Okay, thank you. There's no, the delegates that are opposed? Not?
Move closure of the public hearing, Your Worship.
Pardon me?
I move closure of the public hearing.
So planning has no other questions or comments? Yes?
As I mentioned, Your Worship, there is that option that if there's additional consideration for a site further in the interior, a recommendation also would be to probably amend the municipal development plan so that we could probably be more supportive of that application. As I mentioned, just because right now as it exists, it is industrial, so that's why administration cannot support the application. But that's why we even had mentioned that probably a more suitable site would be the interior, because as it is right now, you actually have to be right at the corner, so all the trucks will actually literally pass by that site.
Thank you. No other comments, questions? Yes, Councillor Brown.
I'd just like to make comment to that. Whether they are on that corner lot or whether they are further into the subdivision, that doesn't change the amount of traffic that comes in or leaves that area. So that doesn't lessen the impact to the intersection.
Exactly. Right, exactly. No other questions or comments?
I have one. May I go ahead or just?
Okay, I'm gonna allow two, and that's it. Okay.
Okay.
Just come. Go ahead.
Can I just hand in support, letters of support in favor of rezoning?
Yeah, I hand over to administration, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members, Strathmore.
Your name, Aaron?
Richard. Last name Reinwald.
Thank you.
To my understanding right now, to turn in that area, there is storage facilities down in that area now. So you have a heavy flow of traffic flow already. Am I correct in saying that? I believe so.
Yes.
You have your Burnco trucks that are running through that area. You also have semi-trucks that are running through that area. So the traffic area is at hand already. To turn into that facility, what I'm thinking is if the position of the building is turned and you come in and you make your turn, you come into the facility, you're already exiting and off 817, not causing any congestion or any blockage or visibility issues. So just depending on how the building is positioned and how the parking lot is positioned, you could actually come off with 817, reducing those areas in effect, and then being able to pull into the back instead of the position right at the corner.
That would, thank you very much. That would be, with planning, you'd have to discuss that with planning. That wouldn't be applicable to you.
Okay.
No. Thank you. If not, then we have a motion on the floor to close the public hearing. Councilor Coble?
Yes, please.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And we'll be making a decision one way or another, or we could even hold on to later on tonight. We can hold the motion in abeyance until we make further comments, okay? Thank you. We may wait or you can leave. It's up to you. I'm not trying to send you away.
Here's what
What's the funny?
What'd you say? What'd you do?
I wasn't very happy with the road.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll continue with the regular town council meeting, and if there's any additions or deletions to the agenda.
Nothing, yeah, you-
Councilor Rocky.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Councilor Bessie.
No, I'll bring it up between questions between councillors, thank you.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Councilor Rumble.
Nothing for me, Your Worship.
Administration.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Move to adopt the agenda.
All in favor? Carried. Number 4.1, deduction of the January agenda reports. Committee of the whole.
I'd move the acceptance of the minutes of the January 4th Committee of the Whole meeting with the addition or the change of the adjournment date, which now reads December 21st and should read January 4th, 2012.
Thank you. The alternative motion, all in favor? Carried.
And Your Worship, I would move the adoption of the January 4th, 2012 regular council meeting minutes.
The alternative motion, all in favor? Carried. Delegations, number 5.1, Health Committee. Who's the representative?
Graham.
Thank you. You can both come up.
We're the only people left.
A bit of a presentation, but it is morning.
William here? I'm assuming then?
We've had issues with this machine before. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
State your names and then for the record.
My name is Graham Matsala. I work for Alberta Health Services. I'm a health promotion facilitator in the Health Promotion Disease and Injury Prevention Department.
Why does the machine set it up? I bring the model every time.
There
we go. Thank you. Tammy? Good.
I'm here to talk about the Walkability Roadshow that we came to work with HEAL on, and from our other partners, Green Communities Canada, Canada Walks, and Walk 21. The reason why Alberta Health Services wants to promote walking within the province, communities within the province, is the concern over obesity. And there's various documents that talk about the need to change obesity and the way we'd like to do it through community development, involvement in communities' decisions in order to make change. 43% of adults in Alberta have acceptable BMIs. That's over half of the population being overweight or obese. So this national and provincial epidemic needs to be addressed, and it has a large cost to the province in general. At over $4.1 billion, obesity has caused the province. So what we decided to do is get involved with walking. Why walking? Well, walking is one of the most popular identified physical activity by Canadians. And what we decided to do is get involved with a national organization called Walk 21. They're out of the UK. And they have local national representation through Greens Community Canada and Canada Walks. They started with some communities, with 4 cities across Canada in 2009. We then approached them to get involved with Walk 21 to the facilitation of the Walkability Roadshow itself in the province. So we decided to have a pilot. We involved 5 different communities, which started to participate, Strathmore being one of them. We went through a benchmark questionnaire, a 2-day workshop, and ultimately created an action plan for walkability in Strathmore. The last 3 are what guided our action plan. So it started with the signing of Walk 21's International Charter for Walking, and also a lot of the work that HEAL's already done within the community. Stuff like the Great Escape, Winter Walk Days, Walk to the Olympics Walking Challenge, that was the Centennial Walk Challenge, the Home Hardware Partnership Skate Swap, the Primary Care Network's Chronic Disease Management Program's Pedometer Program, Walk for the Health of It. We understand that, I think the statistic I saw was 41% of Strathmore residents commute, so the elimination of automobiles is never the intention of the Walkability Roadshow. The idea is to just try to create an atmosphere and create community involvement within walkability. And some of the other benefits that walkability can improve, including health benefits. So some of the stuff that came across the workshop, all those points are points through the International Charter, Walk 21's International Charter for Walking. We went through the principles and we did some brainstorming. And with the brainstorming, community members identified different things that were working well within the community and other things that they thought they could change. Some of the points that were brought up were maps showing locations of pathways and possible walking maps to determine distance. Other solutions were discussed. We're using a complete streets model, and I've got a little image of what a complete street actually looks like, making sure that there's facilities available for pedestrians, looking at some of the cross lights and intersections and things like that. Also maintaining safety of schools, and schools were discussed. Looking for town support as well as the ongoing HEAL initiatives that we mentioned earlier and expansion funds. So this is an example of a complete street. Of course, it's a large urban area, but it's just to get the design across to you. A complete street is actually a big picture type. This could be a lecture in of itself, a discussion of what a complete street is supposed to be as far as community involvement and engagement. But in general, you get the idea that there is facilities for people, pedestrians, for cyclists, as well as automobiles. It's a shared space for everybody right across the board, level playing field. In this particular case, there's lights and boulevards and things like that. That's not necessarily what a complete street is. The complete street can be reached as well through inexpensive means like the paint, and if you can see, there's separation from vehicles. There's some ways to create that separation without actually having all the infrastructure in place. So once we went through that, we ended up discussing a few themes that came out. So some of the themes discussed were some just inexpensive changes and who might be involved in all that. We have an extensive report that's at the stage of being desktop published right now, so as soon as that's published, the council has a chance to see it. And it discusses how spaces can be provided to make walking more feasible and interesting for individuals through simple changes in the bench locations and the artwork that they can be changed into. Through school walking strategies, some of the statistics have shown that 70% of adults used to walk to school when they were in school. I'm sure it was uphill both ways. But currently, less than 30% of children are walking to and from school. So there's a real disconnect there. Most people are saying that's due to traffic reasons. People are driving their kids to school for fear of traffic, but it's a chicken or egg situation. One or the other needs to be addressed to try to increase walkability and children walking to school. We discussed some safe crossings and some traffic management. That's something, there's a longer list of possible concerns that can be evaluated and looked through to determine whether any changes could or should be made. And then we discussed signage and maps as well. In our walkabout, we went through the community and it pointed out a lot of these things that we discussed within the workshop itself. So if you look, it's kind of hard to see in the light, but there's a line of usage that you can see where people will tend to use. People will tell you where they want to walk, so we sort of noticed those throughout the community where there was no infrastructure in place, but where people still wanted to walk around. We looked at linkages, so this is right by the Days Inn. We wanted to get to McDonald's. There was actually no way to actually walk in that direction, so we're right in with the traffic. We looked at how a lot of the pathways were very well done. Some linkages still need to happen. That happens for a lot of communities. The buffer zones between traffic and between the pathways are nice, but then there's always those challenging intersections that downtown revitalization is one of the things that we discussed as well. The fact that buildings are designed, and this is not uncommon in a lot of towns, where now the facing of the building will be flipped around so that now it's faced more towards the parking lot, so it's more conducive to parking and vehicle traffic, but not so much for pedestrian traffic. There's no more window front or door access along the sidewalk side, so it just makes it a little bit less inviting for pedestrians to come to. We talked about engagement of youth in the process as well. We had some attend the workshop and how we can make their spaces more available to them. Just some of the stuff that came out of the report as well is the linkages in the older communities were very good. They linked to and from destinations where people could and should walk for a purpose rather than just recreational walking, which is a tendency for newer type residential areas. So in general, what we're asking town administrators to do is to continue to support the HEAL initiatives that are already happening, to listen to HEAL as well as any other interested community members to make their community more walkable in current and future land use planning, to support any funding opportunities that may happen, and to understand too that it's obvious that walkability is a multi-departmental type initiative. It's nothing that's just recreation. It also involves city planning and other departments as well. Town council itself, we're looking for just the champion of making the community more walkable and the support of the town council themselves as champions. And on that note, we can talk about one way in which town council can do that.
That's great. You knew I wasn't just going to come here and let you get off with that. We have a new challenge going on. I've been reading in the paper about someone that wanted to change his activity. Maybe that was all tongue in cheek, but
No.
So what we are wanting you to do, we're starting a new thing called the Jamaican Island Challenge, and it's a virtual trek, but you have to actually walk or bike or run or swim or do something around the island of Jamaica, log your steps on a daily basis, and if you get to the end of the trek in the next 14 weeks, then you have a chance to win a prize.
Is Jamaica on our budget?
No, we're not going to
Which
Jamaica. But, so I'm encouraging all of you on council and town staff to join the challenge. Because if the mayor of Calgary can do it, and not the city, then maybe our town can do it as well. And because you're the mayor, we're going to give you a pedometer to get started.
I was telling you need to buy one.
Well, you can have that one. If you need help starting to use it, I can show you how if you can't walk.
Okay, thank you very much. And I believe you know, I have started walking, by the way. Councilor Best can verify this. I walk in in his community every day where he works. So.
I heard there's some walkers over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. I should actually give you a.
So when is your
percentage.
walkability? Do you have set times, you guys are?
Yeah, the Walkability Roadshow ran at the end of September, so now we're in the process of creating a report. The report itself is created by Walk 21, but then shared with HEAL, and so HEAL will have the recommendations.
No, but do you have regular walk times now?
And is there a break?
Yeah, there is indoor walking. If you're available on Monday nights just at the Trinity School, from 6 till 6:50. On Monday nights and Wednesday nights, there's indoor walking. So,
As you know, Wednesday night's out, but,
yeah, but,
Civic Center.
and the town has indoor walking at the Civic Center in the mornings, I can't remember what days. This is really cold here, so.
Does swimming count?
Swimming can count. You can, any activity you do, you can log in onto this website and I'm going to put once it gets going again, I will put up a leaderboard. So if you want me to counselor listening is doing really well, then I can do that. So I encourage you all to get out there and get moving.
thank you. Have you approached the youth council, Councillor Silva and I on,
No, I haven't done that. I
Um,
did that.
Councillor Silva, when is the meeting?
February 11th, no, February 8th, I believe it is the next one.
And
I can let Lisa know when the,
And who the leader would be to talk to?
yeah.
They're a
Yeah,
good
because
group.
the contest starts on February 1st. So we want to get people moving before then, but if you put me in contact with that person, because believe you me, youth need to be out moving a bit more too, so.
And this is directed to, and you mentioned the schools, and I Councillor Randall and I have had this discussion about the buses. We're encouraging, society is encouraging lack of walking by. And is it true, Councillor Randall, that you pick up kids only in Trinity town, or how does it work?
In town, yes.
And what is the logic behind it? What is the, I mean, I'm not trying to take your job away, but is it just because there's no way to get to school, or what?
Well, for the students that I pick up, it's probably a little different because they're international students and they're not familiar with the community, and so they request that before they arrive here that they have transportation to and from school.
So no local society, resident kids are picked up by you?
Not by me, but other buses do, yes.
As long as the students live a maximum distance away from the school, they're provided with busing for free. But you can pay as a parent to have a kid picked up, even if you're in a walkable distance, and a lot of parents do. So we're hoping to start a walking school bus for Brentwood School because, I mean, that's a school that most of the students should be able to walk to. So.
My argument there is, and I agree with you, but is that it's hard to train us old ducks, but the new ones you can train pretty cleanly, you know.
We're trying.
One of the things I wanted to mention too is that the Victoria Transport Policy Institute released a report on the economic value of walkability. A lot of communities were asking about this in our presentations that we gave when we said that walking can increase business for businesses. The argument's always be parking and for when people want to purchase, where do they go with their goods? But there's actually studies that show that people will spend more money and spend more time in the downtown area if it's more walkable.
So do you want to give us a Reader's Digest version on that Jamaica Island trek, or how does this work?
So all you do is you go onto the Heal Our Future website.
Yeah.
You register, it says register, and then you just start entering your steps for your other activities. And that's all you have to do.
Oh, okay.
There's no more to that than that.
Pardon me?
There's nothing more to it than that. If you don't have a pedometer, you can get a pedometer for $20 at the Bank Athletic Club. And they're great. And these ones are better though. This is the best pedometer I've ever had, because you don't have to have it on your hip.
You can still buy them for $5 at Walmart.
How accurate is
No self-advertising here, but.
Or Canadian Tire.
Yeah. Well, these ones, what I like about these ones is they don't have to be on a certain spot on your body. They could be in your purse and it still keeps track because they use
Oh,
a
perfect.
GPS tracking system. So for $20, they're
I'll carry my purse.
Put it in your purse.
Thank you very much. Any questions to council?
Thank you.
I just have a quick one. If I'm walking on a treadmill now, is there an opportunity on the website to just enter distance walked? Or is it just steps?
It has time on
Time.
there, yeah.
Okay.
Time plus steps.
Time plus steps.
But,
So not time plus distance, that's
no, but
mentioned,
if
okay.
you walk a certain amount of kilometers, 1,320 steps is a kilometer.
Okay,
And that's on the website, so.
okay, thank you.
Your Worship, I was at the walkability session and really quite enjoyed it. I want to thank Heal and Alberta Health for putting it on. I think it was really opened a bunch of eyes up, and I'm really happy. I want to say this that not only is council here and administration here, but we have our leaders from our planning, public works, and our parks department here today. So everybody's on the same page. And I want to be very clear that this council has always really strongly supported the pathways, and what we have to do is go to the next step now and make pathways, make walking attractive especially to our youth, and I think it's going to make a big difference. But I think we've come a long way in the last few years. So thank you.
There's no further questions. Thank you very much for the pedometer. I'm going to be definitely using it because I have started the program.
Oh, are you going to do walk with the mayor? We suggested that was going to happen, and I was supposed to
It's going to happen, yes.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening,
You know
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's the mayor challenge, Jesse.
Definitely. But I don't know my dates or times is a difficult one. All right. I don't know how we can put that on the web or something. I don't know how to do it. Okay, thank you.
Lisa, was this Jamaica or Maui?
Oh, yes, I'm
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for having me.
Your Worship, I would move that we accept the video presentation as information.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 1126-1126, land use redesignation from CHWY to P1, page 17. Tammy, help us through this one. Yes, go ahead.
So, if we recommend that the redesignation occur, and they decide, and the applicants decide to obtain a piece of land further in, for instance, in this industrial land, and obviously they have to reapply for that piece. But what would happen to this particular piece? Do you follow me?
I believe so.
What if we approve this and then they decide not to use it? Does it have to?
Then the redesignation would still go forward, so it would change to P1.
It would change to P1.
That's correct.
And then a potential purchaser could reapply to have that redesignated again.
That is correct.
Thank you.
At a cost, though.
That is correct.
Okay, do you know approximately what that cost would be?
Redesignation, oh my goodness. Sorry. Sure. No. Redesignation is 1,500. Yeah.
And that's all, plus your time and...
Let me,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly what our redesignation application or fee schedule is.
But is that approximate?
Yes.
Okay. Councilor Beth?
I just wanted to clarify one thing on that as well, and that's the landowner being Mr. Govan. He can apply to have that changed as well, can he not? If he's the landowner?
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess my thought here is that, and I'm not speaking of all council, but why would we approve it hoping that they will move further in? And, it's too much cost. So I'm suggesting that if we're not going to approve it, there's no point in redesignating this at a cost now and a cost later. Go ahead.
I think my initial recommendation was that if there was a reconsideration of the site, if it's going to be another parcel, that there would still be the amendment to the municipal development plan so that administration can fully support the application. And then at that point in time, we could use this application and, well, I guess it really depends on the recommendation on council. We could potentially still utilize the existing application for a different site.
But you need that recommendation, or that motion tonight first, to even for the other site.
Yes.
Yes. Did council follow me? Or follow us?
Can we table this to a later date? We don't have to make a decision tonight on the regarding public hearing. That decision can wait for a year or years if we so desire.
That is correct. You can wait and not do second reading. You can wait for that time period. Usually a bylaw would be considered refused if you have not made the decision 2 years after first reading has been provided. So you do not have to make a decision tonight.
That's right, and having said that, we could just let it sit, and the applicant can go to another parcel of land and further in, and this one would just die on the table.
If that's the case, or what they can do is also just take it off. Yes, take it off the table immediately and apply for the other site.
We're just not trying to kill it, we're trying to say that. Go ahead, Councilor Sobel.
Well, I guess where I'm coming from is a couple of areas. One is that we're dealing with an application for this particular place, this location, and there's no indication or suggestion by the applicant that they're going to try another piece of land. Where we are is they're looking for that piece of land. I had some concerns in looking at the background information regarding transportation, but it's clear to me that Alberta Transportation says there is no issue.
Exactly.
And you know what, when I think about it, I kind of like that corner for them. I think it's nice to have a community like this in the forefront. You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm ready to vote on this today.
Right. Go ahead, Councilor.
Your Worship, I am also in favor of this, and when you look at, there's much concern over Highway 17 or 817. However, as per the statements made by our planning department, it says Alberta Transportation submitted comments and noted that the existing highway network should not be impacted since access to the site was via Canal Garden and Canal Boulevard. No access, and I'm going to repeat that, no access will be permitted directly on 817. And with that alleviates the traffic problems. I see them sitting on this corner being one of the first things you're going to see coming into our community, and I think that the youth activities they have are one of the major things we're hearing is we want the youth off the streets. This is an opportunity to start that happening. Our planning department has no problem with the parking. Being as they're saying that there may be needed for a light for there. However, there's more than 5 lots over on just off Thomas. There's a church on the corner there, and there is no light at that corner. In fact, farther in now is the affordable housing, and there's still no light at that corner. I think that this is a good thing, and that we can't suppose that they're going to want to move. I think that that would be up to them, and if they decide that in the future. But we certainly can't look at it and say right now, well, they're going to move anyway, because we don't know that. What we're looking at is voting on changing this one parcel of land to P1, and I'm certainly in favor of that.
Any comments?
I support moving ahead with it.
I always was in favor of it, administration talked me out of it, now I'm back in favor of it. Because when they brought up the fact that the Catholic Church and the other, two other
Yes.
churches are on date 17, I don't really see the big deal here. I mean, the traffic, I mean, you can argue, we don't even know what it's going to be, so I don't really see a problem with myself. And it's always nice to see a church when you're driving into town. I've always thought that. And that's one of the nice things you'd like to see.
And just to clarify, if this is passed, Tammy, through the chair, if this is passed, you need a recommendation for an amendment to the act?
Or does that not happen first?
As I mentioned, because this is not new
No.
information, administration cannot support because
Right.
in the municipal development plan for the town, it has it as industrial. As I mentioned, to make it cleaner, and had we known that this actual application was going to come in, we would have recommended that initially the amendment to the municipal development plan would have been done first. So then administration has the ability to support the
Okay.
application.
All right. But we could pass it all and then ask you to amend it.
Yes, as mentioned earlier, council does not have to undertake all of the projects in the municipal development plan. However, administration is bound by that plan.
Okay.
In that case, I would move that council provide a second reading to bylaw 11-26.
You all heard the motion. All in favor? Discussion on the second, that's right too, sorry. No further discussion? I thought we discussed it already. No further discussion, all in favor? Carried.
Your worship, I would move that council provide third reading for bylaw 1126.
You all heard the motion, all in favor? Carried. So the rest is up to you then, is that, or do you need another recommendation or motion by us?
It has passed, so therefore it is P1 now.
Okay. So why didn't you tell us all this other stuff?
Your worship, I am required to do so.
That's right.
It is effective.
Okay, thank you.
Delegation.
Can we ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry. So I understand what you're doing. Are you passing a motion to change the official plan, or are you passing a motion, or have approved the official plan and the rezoning?
No, just the
There's
rezoning.
rezoning plan.
Sorry?
Rezoning only.
You don't have to make a change to the official plan?
No.
Okay.
So it's P1.
Pardon me?
It is P1 now.
That's what's on it, is P1.
Okay.
62, page 27. Public hearing for February 2nd, 2012, for the bylaw number 11-25. Tammy, go ahead.
Basically, this is just to set a public hearing for February 1st, and one of the bylaws for area council Edgefield had been postponed, and they would like to reschedule their public hearing to that date. So the recommendation is that council set a public hearing on February 1st, 2012, commencing at 7:30, and that council would refer bylaw 1125 to the public hearing on February 1st, 2012.
Edgefield's the one in the northwest corner.
Northeast, immediately east of the ranch.
Okay.
I move that council set a public hearing on February 1st, 2012, commencing at 7:30 p.m.
You all heard the motion. No further questions. Everybody understands? All in favor?
Your worship, I would move that council refer bylaw number 11-25 to the public hearing on February 1st, 2012.
You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Number 7, old business, highway number 1 realignment, page 29. Thank Thank you, folks.
Your Worship, administration has brought this item back for a vote as was requested at the last regular council meeting on the highway realignment.
Okay, if somebody has a motion ready to go, then we'll have a discussion on it.
Your Worship, I move that council support the realignment of highway number 1 as presented at the November 24th, 2011 open house. And that administration draft a letter of support for the realignment of highway number 1 with concerns attached related to the control and maintenance of the portion of the highway remaining within the town limits to be determined at a later date prior to the realignment commencing to Alberta Transportation. Those 5 concerns being, number 1, that Alberta Transportation install signs at deletion 22X at the east side of the town prior to the bypass, and signs before highway number 9 and west of the town prior to the bypass to advertise services within the town. Number 2, that Alberta Transportation paves the number 1 highway through the town and all service roads adjacent to the number 1 highway before the town takes it over. Number 3, confirmation that the overpasses will have at least 40 feet of clearance. Number 4, when the letter is signed, confirmation that Alberta Transportation will no longer have control over access to highway number 1 once the bypass is fully constructed and operational. Number 5, confirmation that a solution to the continuance of the Eagle Lake path and stormwater ditch will be researched and provided. This to be under the signature of the mayor, and that council direct administration to draft a letter to Alberta Transportation that the realignment of highway number 1 be expedited to allow construction to commence as soon as possible under the signature of the mayor.
Calendar motion discussion.
Your Worship, I would move that, or ask for an amendment on that motion to strike the 5 conditions and to leave it as that the realigning commencing transportation under the signature of the mayor and so forth as said. My amendment is to remove those 5 conditions.
So we have an amendment to the motion, so discussion on the amendment.
Your Worship, I feel that what we're doing right now is we're strictly telling the people at transportation that we are in favor of a move and that we would like to see it done in expedient time. I don't think that at this time is when we want to raise conditions that can all be done in the future, as long as and it's mentioned here that we will draft a letter with that in the future, and we can direct our administration to do that with you signing it. I feel that putting those 5 conditions in now is not expedient for us to do.
Councilor Hamilton.
Just a point there, these are concerns, they're not conditions, and these are identified so we can continue a negotiation process, for lack of a better word, or discussions with Alberta Transportation.
Which is why we will write a letter to them stating those and other conditions.
Councilor Rocky.
Councilor Hamilton, the same words I was going to use.
Councilor Rimble. Sorry.
I'm just wondering why all those concerns have to be part of this. We're actually, all we're wanting to do is to approve, to show our support for the bypass, and there definitely are some concerns that will arise from this, but we want to make it be clear, not only to our citizens, to ourselves. We want to be clear to Alberta Transportation to any developer or business that wants to come into Strathmore, that we are in full support of this, and that they can start coming and looking at land starting tomorrow, and with not having to wait for conditions to be approved by Alberta Transportation before it just becomes final.
First off, let's get it clear, these are not conditions. They're concerns.
There will be a lot more concerns that will be coming up in the future.
We're not denying that.
And so I see absolutely no reason to have any concerns attached to this motion.
Councillor Field.
Your Worship, I just have a question. If we accept this amendment and vote on it and accept it, does that mean the motion will come forward again as far as supporting the realignment without the concerns?
Right now, we can vote on the amendment first. If the amendment fails, we vote on the original motion. So we don't have to pass the amendment. That's the way it works.
But passing the amendment would remove the concerns.
That's right.
And then the motion would come forward in its
right.
original form.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Beth.
Your Worship, this is a situation where this highway is not going to be built tomorrow, it's not going to be built next week, it's not going to be built next year, it's not going to be built in the next 5 years. The fact of the matter is we have a lot of time to suggest our concerns to transportation without putting something in right now when we're telling them, yes, we agree with you putting this bypass in, and we'd like to see you to expedite it rather than put a long time wait on it. I think that with there being a substantial amount of time in the future, that we can express our concerns admirably and with the force that's needed in the future.
Councillor.
Well, I might as well throw my 2 cents in as well. I don't like attaching these concerns in writing. First of all, this set of concerns has never been discussed by this council, and if it's going under council's name, then I think at the very least we should be meeting to discuss what this council has for concerns. And I think this is a long process, and I would even recommend at some point in the future that a subcommittee be engaged from council members to start negotiations and discussions with Alberta Transportation. Once we know the full extent of what this bypass is going to be, and it's going to be some time, I think, before we even know, have more information in regards to what the bypass is. As Councillor Rempel said, my understanding of this process today was whether or not we supported the concept, in principle, of a bypass going around Strathmore as per the open house.
Any other comments? Councillor Rocky.
Your Worship, just carrying on from where Councillor Sobel left off here, I'm not even sure if this bypass plan was ever actually discussed in council last year. I certainly don't remember it. But if we want to carry on this, I like to compare this motion to keeping the ducks in order here. If you're starting a business in town and you're leasing a building, you want certain concerns in place before you lease that building, and without getting 2 or 3 years down the road, all of a sudden things start changing on you unexpectedly. I think all I'm saying here is we have some concerns. They're attached onto the motion, and I'd sooner have them look at it now instead of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years from now when we decide to start doing things, and half these things are going to be forgotten about.
Councillor Gill.
Well, Your Worship, I was going to wait to see if we amended this motion and had the original one brought up. But there is one concern that's come forward that I think may have to be put in any kind of a support of the realignment of TransCanada. And that is something that hasn't been mentioned before. And I think one of the things we have to do is make sure that our businesses are protected in town and on the TransCanada. And this past weekend, I said in the committee of the whole that I had spoken to some town councillors and the mayor of Kenora, Ontario. Some of these places, Kenora, Ontario, did face a highway bypass, and it affected them very negatively. It cost them a great deal of money over time. Now, I have a hard time just accepting and supporting a realignment when I don't know for sure that our highway businesses are going to be protected. And the thing I'm about to mention is something that was pushed forward to me by both the mayor of Kenora and one of the councillors. And he said that you should really make sure that you push for and have a concern stated that you want a moratorium placed on any new commercial development on the Trans-Canada bypass for a certain period of time, to give the businesses that are on the Trans-Canada right now a real chance at staying alive and surviving should the traffic really decrease when that bypass goes through. And that's one of the things that may not work if you just put it in after we have given approval to it or we've supported the realignment. That is a concern that I think would be incredibly important to protect some of the businesses. And an example I can give is if Mr. Hal Lust is concerned that he may lose a lot of his business as a GM dealership, and on the new bypass a Chrysler dealership is built, he has a legitimate concern that this is going to really affect his business. So my whole comments before were that some of these concerns may have to be put forward as we show our approval or show our support to make sure these businesses are protected.
You know, the one I never did understand is that everybody's concerned about the bypass and the new business going on. If there's a new business that's along the bypass, you can't get off to it unless you come through town anyway. So I don't understand that logic. You have to come through town to get that business no matter what. You can't get off the bypass to get to that business.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is if the bypass has restaurants and gas stations and car dealerships as it goes south of us, then there's no need to come through our town.
How do you get to them?
How do you get to them?
So where is the bypass occurring? Is it in town, right where it is?
Well, just mile and a half south.
Yeah.
So if there's a business, so let's get that clear.
No access to the business.
There's no access to the bypass? No.
They're not going to have any access.
No, you can't get it.
You only use the cloverleaf at 817.
You can only get into town on the cloverleaf at 817, or you can get into town from the west end or the east end, but never off the bypass.
So that's been made sure that there's not going to be any.
That's why they wanted a freeway status.
Okay. Then I don't have that problem. Then obviously this is something that I was unaware of. I thought that there would be chances for businesses to spring up on the bypass.
They will not get off that bypass unless they're on three spots.
Okay.
And I would just comment that Alberta Transportation can't place a moratorium on any businesses.
No, I wasn't expecting Alberta Transportation.
A town council decision. So
nor would I want to.
I agree.
Councilor, somebody else? Anyway, I thought we had agreed to this prior in our committee, the whole meeting, that this is the way it was going to be written, the motion.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a motion on the floor and some motion, I guess you call it. Amendment to the motion. First thing we vote on the amendment. And the motion amendment is what, you again?
I would move that the 5 concerns be stricken, and that the motion be made the way it is written on the sheet from administration.
So we're voting on the amendment, which is striking the 5 concerns. Y'all heard the motion. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Pass.
We ask for opposed.
Opposed? So now, it is carried with no letter.
Now you go back to the original.
Make the motion about the...
No, not without a letter of support, without the 5 concerns, just the way it's written here.
We're still going to write a letter of concern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But it's not part of the motion.
But where is that stated?
It'll come out in the motion, doesn't it?
It's in the motion.
It is in the letter, or the motion, okay, thank you. Let's reread the motion then. No.
Read it without the front concerns. That's right.
Conditions or concerns?
It's your choice.
Okay, Your Worship,
Yes.
the original motion?
Yes.
That council support the realignment of Highway number 1 as presented at the November 24th, 2011 open house, and that administration draft a letter of support for the realignment of Highway number 1 with conditions related to the control, concerns related to the control and maintenance of the portion of the highway remaining within the town limits to be determined at a later date prior to the realignment commencing to Alberta Transportation under the signature of the mayor, and that council direct administration to draft a letter to Alberta Transportation requesting that the realignment of highway number 1 be expedited to allow construction to commence as soon as possible under the signature of the mayor.
You all heard the motion? All in favor?
Discussion?
Any discussion? Any further?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I've listened to arguments for a while. It's time that I put forth my position on this, I think, Your Worship. And I do realize that there's many issues that may have influenced our decision regarding whether we should support this bypass or not. I'd like to focus on what is my opinion of the most important areas. First and foremost, I believe this issue is about safety. It's clear to me that traffic traveling through Strathmore has increased in the last 10 years and will continue to do so. Statistics obtained through the Department of Transportation, who do regular traffic counts, reveals that an average of just over 11,000 vehicles traveled along Highway 1, just west of Wheatland Trail in 2001. In 2010, that number rose to 13,620. Many of these vehicles are tractor trailers, all of which have a longer stopping distance than passenger vehicles. What may not be well known, however, is that as much as 15% of these trucks are carrying dangerous goods. Restricting vehicles carrying dangerous goods through our town and generally reducing large truck traffic would, in my opinion, create a safer and more attractive corridor into our town. An alternative proposal to the bypass would see Highway 1 remain where it is and in time be permitted to grow into a freeway status. This would, of course, result in the destruction of many buildings presently in the corridor required for a freeway. It would also, however, increase the noise pollution and create a split in our town, north versus south. I've lived in a municipality which was separated by a freeway, and I'm very aware that few residents found this to be a positive attraction. Over the last few months, 3 communities have been named to support the argument against the bypass: Milk River, Vegreville, and Brooks. Since our last council meeting, I've taken the opportunity to contact the mayors of these municipalities and discuss the pros and cons of bypasses. Actually, I wasn't able to gather a great deal of relevant information from Mayor Shields of Brooks, other than the fact that their bypass was actually built in the late 1950s. Certainly since his arrival there some 35 years ago, he has no complaints about the bypass. Vegreville's occurred some 20 years ago, and Mayor Coleman clearly felt that their community has benefited from the bypass. He emphasized that with good access to the town and proper signage, the economy did not suffer and in fact has improved. In his opinion, the bypass made the town safer and in effect a better place to live. Milk River's bypass was finished just about 2 years ago. Contrary to allegations that businesses were lost because of this bypass, Mayor Terry McHillis states no businesses have been lost or closed. He states that the same volume of traffic is entering their municipality as before the bypass. And once again, he emphasizes that signage is crucial, but that in reality they have not been negatively affected by the bypass. A recent delegation that did not support the bypass urged this council to focus on short-term ramifications and to disregard long-term planning. To do this would be also to disregard my promises to the public during the last election campaign. I feel it's my duty to consider what type of community we want to have in 30 years and what kind of community we want our children's children growing up in. I spent hours and hours listening to the opinions of a substantial amount of constituents in this matter. It's clear to me that save for a very few, the bypass is preferred and welcome. Thank you.
Any other comments? Questions? None? You all heard the motion? All in favor? Opposed? I didn't see your hand went up, Councilor Riley. Motion is carried.
Unanimously.
Unanimously. 7-2, Canadian Badlands, page 31. I think we had a discussion on this last week that was presented to us. Administration got nothing dead. Council, any discussions, or I'm looking for a motion for join the Badlands, the recommendation is?
Your Worship, I'll make that motion that council join the Canadian Badlands Association on a 1-year trial at cost of 50% of capital.
There was a motion in for discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, I'm not behind this. I have never been behind this. I believe that the cost doesn't justify the means. They want to call us the gateway to the Badlands, and yet we're substantially a long way away from it, as well as most of the other towns who are with it. I think that the cost, as I say, does not justify the means, and in that case, I cannot vote for this.
Thank you. I'm not sure if this was brought up in open council or not, but the fact of the matter is we've had discussions with this group before and actually voted against joining them. But in their presentation to us, a recent presentation to us, a lot has changed, and they now have, I think they have the ability for us to actually work with them to increase our visibility in Alberta. I like the fact that they have a local touch in here. We're going to be seeing these people. I think there's somebody that we can talk with and deal with items such as improving the appearance of our town at the entrance signs. This is something that they're interested in. So it just seems that a 1-year trial basis to see what they want is fairly reasonable, and I certainly support this at this time.
Councillor Fuel.
Since we've shown support for the realignment of the Trans-Canada, I think anything we can do to attract visitors and business and travelers to come into the town would be very, very good for us. So I'm in support of doing this for a 1-year trial basis.
Councillor Rimble.
I would just like to echo the same sentiment that excuse me. The trial year is the key word here, and so I am in favor of trying it for 1 year, and hopefully it'll work to our benefit, and so that we can continue to support the Canadian Badlands Association.
Yes, and I agree that what happened in the past is the past, and it's an organization, they sound very enthusiastic. They're here locally, and I really emphasize on that too, as Councilor Sobel did. I think they have an office here, do they not?
Semi-office.
Thank you. And so I would certainly be in support with Councilor Rocky.
Your Worship, I certainly support that too, but I kind of hope they put the signs on the existing Trans-Canada, not on the White House.
Might be a long time.
Yeah.
Y'all heard the motion, any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Carried, opposed? One opposed. Eight one, policy on page 33.
Your Worship, I'm raising that issue today. The Council's aware administration has been tasked with reviewing town policies and providing suggestions as to how they may be updated and or improved. Recently, we were asked to provide priorities as to which policies needed this review the most. It was during this process that I discovered that no policy deals with the ability of sitting council members to apply for employment opportunities being advertised by the town. I have two concerns about this. The first is that as members of council, we are notified of future job openings during in-camera sessions as this matter deals with employment and personnel. As such, however, this gives council members an unfair advantage over the public who may not be aware of this opportunity for weeks or months following an internal decision to require it be filled. Second concern is as a council, we are the governing power for the municipality and its employees. Although we are actually only directly responsible for the actions of one employee, that being the CAO. It's clear that being interviewed for a position by the town, in the town, by the very employees that in one form or another must answer to council, creates an uncomfortable and unfair task for the interviewer. I have no issues with any person, including council members, looking for alternative employment, but when it comes to a town position, I would suggest that the resignation of the position on council should preclude an employment application. I would like to have council support in directing that administration research and provide a policy which takes this issue into consideration.
Are you making that a motion?
I'm looking for support by council for direction. I can't make a motion. The motion would be for the new policy.
Okay. Any other, Councilor Buckley?
Can it be a motion? Okay, then I'd amend that to moving that administration research and provide a policy that takes this issue into consideration.
I would just like to add that I'm going to be talking with other mayors here in the community also, see how they handle it, and I'll get back information to you. Councilor Rocky.
Your worship, my personal opinion, to get elected as a councillor is an honor, also a 3-year commitment itself. I admit that is a huge undertaking on behalf of oneself. It certainly was for me. And life's opportunities can come and go or change in that time frame. I myself don't have a problem with councillors applying for jobs. I do think, however, when they apply at the same municipality office that they are serving for as councillors, I believe it puts administration in a very tough, debatable position, of course, depending on their position as to who they choose to hire. The obvious choice to me here as a councillor would be not to apply within the administration of the municipality.
Councilor Field.
I have no problem with the motion as far as looking into it and seeing the ramifications and legality of it. I would like to also, I think by doing this, we find out as well whether it's able to be done as far as a person's rights, as far as applying for jobs that they would like to apply for.
Councilor Hamilton.
Yeah, just a comment like I made in the committee of the whole. I believe that this is an unfair hiring practice. It's prejudicial, and you may be stepping on charter issues here. I support the administration taking a look at it and getting a legal opinion. However, I feel that it's very, very prejudicial and unfair hiring practice.
Councilor Best.
I agree mostly with what Councillor Hamilton has just said. And in regards to the concerns of Councillor Sobel, yes, they may know about those positions prior to, however, they still cannot apply until such time as the job is posted, giving no one a more favorable advantage. Under concern 2, I personally believe that the people who work for this town are professionals, and that as stating that's how they would act through a hiring process, be it an interview or the hiring itself. And as far as stepping down from council, I believe that should be done after such time as the person would be accepted.
Thank you. Any further comments? No, I'll put it in mind. There is a perception of unfair advantage simply from the public's point of view that you're in contact with administration constantly, but the public does not have that opportunity. And secondly, if there was equal, and I said this earlier on, if there's a public person who has equal qualifications to the councillor, who does the administration pick first? They go on one side and pick the councillor. The public says, hey, it's an unfair advantage, and rightly so. If you pick the person from the public, the councillor, and whether it's right or wrong, there's going to be some animosity between that and administration, between that person and administration. It's only human nature. So it puts administration in a very, very, very bad position. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, we know that administration is going to look into it, so we can take it from further discussion after they give us some information. You all heard the motion? Pardon me?
That was a motion.
It was a motion. You all heard the motion?
Can you repeat that one?
Sure. I move that that administration research and provide a policy which takes this issue into consideration.
Y'all heard the motion, all in favor? Opposed? Not opposed, carried. Number 9, administration, committee of the whole, results reports, council invitations, go ahead.
Your Worship, I have one thing, it was emailed to me today from Community Futures in Southern Alberta. It's in regard to the Chinook Entrepreneur Challenge. If I may, I'd like to read this and then explain what if there's any questions. Community Futures and ATB Financial proudly announce a partnership to support local business through the Chinook Entrepreneur Challenge Business Planning Competition. Now in its 8th year, this is a great opportunity for businesses to obtain free training on building a sustainable business plan and the end possibility of winning a grand prize of $10,000 cash, plus numerous in-kind prizes. What an incredible incentive to invest in your future. Community Futures is thrilled to have ATB come in. I'm going to forego that. It is the legendary Alberta entrepreneurial spirit that makes and provides this great, says Gary Friesen, Regional Business Manager for ATB. We have supported Alberta businesses' achievements and success for over 70 years and welcome the opportunity to help these entrepreneurs make their dreams come true. Chinook Entrepreneur Challenge is a Southern Alberta program for anyone starting or expanding a business. Registration is free and open to 8 training sessions will be provided on Wednesday evenings from 6:30 to 9, starting February the 1st through March the 28th. Your Worship, I've been involved with this as a judge and gone over the business plans that have been sent in. We have an incredible amount of business to tap into and help out in Southern Alberta. Many of these are businesses that are either now starting and doing well or just looking at opening. I think that it would be nice for our town to get behind this, and if anyone happens to know anyone who is either starting a business or is looking at expanding their business, that we direct them to Community Futures Wild Rose.
Any questions? Are you saying that you were involved in?
I judge the for like the $10,000 in that.
Okay.
What they do is they send in their business plans. You go over the business plans and then you rate their business plans.
And the support you're looking from us is what?
Just a support for the project itself, and that if we hear of anyone who is either starting or expanding their business, that we send them to Community Futures Wild Rose so that they can get involved with this program.
Any other further questions from council? We're not giving any monetary support though, right?
No.
Quite very important.
No, that's done through Community Futures and ATV.
So you're not looking for a motion, are you looking for a letter from the mayor or what?
I think no, just your worship that
Can we put that in the news in our letter, in their fact that that's happening in our weekly advertising, town page?
And on the website?
Yeah.
I think that'd be wonderful.
Great idea.
Okay, thank you. No questions on that, administration, I'm looking for a motion for adjournment. Well, sorry.
Not so quick.
You said at the last meeting.
I just like to, for the record, set something straight here. In last week's Strathmore Times, it indicated that Councillor Rempel used "we" numerous times when talking about this. highway bypass thing. And that council informed the public that he was representative of the council. What I in fact was referring to was, when I said we, and I'll probably use that a couple more times tonight, is we had agreed with Alberta Transportation maybe almost 2 years ago when we talked, when this bypass, when this third option of the bypass was presented to Alberta Transportation. I was referring to the previous council when I was saying we. We couldn't make it public at the previous council because it was Alberta Transportation asked us to keep it confidential. It was a confidential matter until after the open house on November 24th in 2011. So therefore, we could not make comment in public about this. And that is the reason that this present council ended up doing what we did tonight. Had we had the opportunity a year and a half ago to do this, which we were hoping to do as that council, we would have done it at that time, but we couldn't. So I just wanted to clear that for the record. Thank you.
I would just say that when we're speaking of we, previous councils, and all this with respect to the previous council, doesn't count in today's council. We is council as of present date, and that, I want that clear. But we are not what happened in the past.
I said when we made that decision. You always have to have the last word, don't you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the chair can have the last word. Thank you very much. Was there a motion to adjourn? Councilor Hamilton, all in favor?